Okay, let's get started. So we are going to start with introduction to HTML. Okay, so what's HTML? HTML is hypertext markup language. So its main purpose is to create websites, design your websites, and as you follow me through, I will guide you on how to start creating your own website. Okay, so let's get started. Open your Visual Studio Code. Open your Visual Studio Code. But before that, I would like you to, on your laptop, go to Files, click on Create a new folder. Create a new folder and maybe call it New Folder. Okay, so create a new folder and call it New Folder. Okay, so we are going to be using that new folder here. So on your Visual Studio Code, if you can see it on my screen here, click on the new folder. Okay, so we are about to start. The next thing is click on New File. Click on New File. So we are going to call our first work index.html. So we are going to call our first word index.html and then enter. Okay, so for every word which we are going to be using with HTML, it doesn't matter whichever name you want to call it, but it must have .html at the end for Visual Studio Code to recognize that is a HTML code. Do you understand? Okay, so we are starting with our first work. The first thing we are going to learn is doc type. Okay, so let me type it here. Okay, the computer has already shown it for me. So doc type HTML. This must be on every page of your HTML to signify the type of document that you are using. So this means that we are using HTML5. Okay, so just know that we are going to be using this all through, right? Okay, so I press enter and I move to the next line. Another important thing that I'll need to put is HTML and then language. So I'm going to put EN. So EN signifies English. So I'm telling the HTML that I'm going to be using English for my programming. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to see is so the next thing I'm going to put is head. Okay, so in HTML, what they call this is meta tag. So what's the function of your meta tag? The meta tag contains all the information about the page. So if you enter a website, your website will have a title. Your website can have a description that's describing the content, that's the thing in your website. You can decide to put the author of your website and so many other things. Okay, so these are all the things found in the head of your website. Okay, so the first one I'm going to put is character set. Okay, so cast, so we have CHARSET character set. This is, we are going to be using UTF-8. Okay, so this is the character set that most websites work with. Okay, so UTF-8, and then the next thing is, okay, meta name is equal to description. Okay, so I want to put description. I want to put a description for my website. So this description is like explaining to users what are they expecting from my website. Okay, so the name is description, while the content is what they're expecting from the website. So let's start with first website. Okay, so the content can be my first website, okay, or my first website tutorials. Okay, so another thing I can decide to put is the author. Okay, okay, it's giving me red here. We are still going to come to explain what tags are, so I need to put the closing tag. Okay, so meta name, so let me put author. So this author is saying who has the website. Okay, so the website belongs to, you can put your name there. Let me put mine. Okay, okay, so these are the ones we are going to be using for now in this our head. Now the head, okay, later on we'll begin to explain linking, CSS and JavaScript. By the time we explain it, then I'll still come and put it in the head. Okay, so all these are called meta tags, right? Okay, okay, so what are elements, what are tags? Okay, so tag is this less than sign here, so that's what is called tag. So anything contained within a tag is called an element. Anything contained within a tag is called an element. So this head is an element, this HTML language is equal to en is an element. We have okay, so all these are okay. The next thing we are going to be putting now is the body aspect of our code. So we have head and we have body. Like I said, the head is used to, the head doesn't show in your code, it's just used to describe what the code is all about, what the website is all about. So from the body we begin to see the main parts of the code. Okay, so from this body, the first thing I'm going to explain about is headings. Headings. Okay, so heading is H. Headings is H. We have H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, H7. Okay, so I've clicked on H1 and then let me type something on it. Let me click hello world. All right, okay, so now let me run my website using Visual Studio Code. Okay, so If you want to see how your website looks like on Chrome, then click on Visual Studio Code, right click, click on Open, and click on Open with Lifesaver. Okay, so this is Hello World. Like I said, everything in your head doesn't appear. It's only words in the body that appears. Okay, so this is H1. Now let me put H2 so that you can see the difference between H1 and H2. Okay, so let me call it my first website. Okay, so if you can see, the hello world is larger than my first website. So H1 is a big heading, that's your biggest heading, and then H2 is smaller than H1, H3 is smaller than H2, and so on till we get to H6. All right. Okay. So another one that we have is paragraph. We have paragraph. That's P. Okay. P. So if I click the same my first website on this P here, it will just be the size of a normal line. Okay, so let me open it. Okay, you can see it here. So it's just the normal size, normal font size. Okay, so that's the difference between heading and paragraph. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to learn here is text formatting. Text formatting. Okay, so text formatting is how you are going to edit your text. Okay, so we have several of them. We have bold. Okay, so watch what is going to happen when I put bold. Bold is signified by B. B. Okay. Bold is signified by B. Okay. So when I do that on my website, when I do that on this paragraph, it's going to make the work bold. Okay, can you see it? So this is when it's bold, and this was it without the bold. This was it without the bold. And then we have several others. We have italics, which is signified by I. Okay. Which is signified by I. Okay, so this is going to put my work in italics. Okay, so that is it there. Another one that we have is superscript and subscript. So we have superscript. Okay, that's SUP. Okay, let me put it in a better form. Okay, so for superscript, let me put SUP. Okay, so let me write something here. Let me write superscript here. I just want to show you the effect it's going to give us. Okay, superscript here, and then on our lifesaver you can see the superscript. Okay, in the same way I can change this to subscript. Okay, subscript here. Okay, and then on my lifesaver you can see the subscript. Okay, so if you cannot open your lifesaver, what it means is that you might not have installed it. So lifesaver is an extension. If you go to this area, click on extension, but my network is not on. Okay, then search for lifesaver. Search for lifesaver and then go on to install it. See, my own is already installed. Reach which day. Okay, so you must have your lifesaver installed for you to view your code on your website. Okay, then another thing we can see is abbreviation. Okay, but before abbreviation, one of the things you can observe here is that I'm putting a tag inside of a tag. Okay, so if you look carefully, you will see that we have P, and then I have the content of P, and then I closed P, right? But inside of that P, inside of the content of P, I have another thing which is subscript, SUB. Okay, I have SUB here inside of the script, inside of the P. So these are called nested tags. These are called nested tags. Okay, so it's allowed in HTML. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to see is abbreviation. Okay, so for abbreviation, let me use WHO for an instance. Okay, so let me write that P okay, then I put abbreviation ABBR. That's the symbol for abbreviation. Okay, so I can put WHO. Okay, so I can put WHO. Now this brings me to attributes. Okay, I've mentioned a number of things. I've mentioned tag. So tag is this your P, this less than sign, and then the element is what is contained inside the tag. Okay, so another thing that we see is attributes. Okay, so what are attributes? Attributes are used to describe elements. Okay, so as we go on, we are going to see a number of attributes. Don't worry if you don't get it here. We are going to see a lot of it so you understand. But attributes are used to describe, or they are used to describe elements. So this abbreviation it has an attribute which is title. It's okay if you don't understand it. We are still going to see it more. So in this title, I'm going to put World Health Organization. So this title is explaining that this my abbreviation WHO, its full form is World Health Organization. Okay, so see what happens when I open. Um, we have W3 schools for you to look at, right? And you can also download books, HTML books, watch other YouTube videos. I will be returning back to continue from here. Okay, thank you.